We are a convention for fans from all backgrounds, any fans of science fiction, fantasy, horror, gaming, art, and generally just anything geeky at all. That's been one of the fun parts, is expanding outside of like traditional fandom, and because we realize that like people have different kind of stuff they nerd out about, right? It could be history or science or fountain pens, whatever it is. The common thread is that there's a strong interest in something that you want to share with people. So that's the point of conventions in my book, but also Multiverse in particular, is let everybody get together in an environment where everybody feels welcomed and included, like genuinely included. And it happens every October, third weekend of every October. This year it's October 20th through 22nd in Atlanta, which I figure most people know. At the Westin Atlanta Perimeter North, all the stuff's at multiversecon.org.
Welcome to the Spotlight on the Multiverse Convention. All season long, we've been able to talk to so many great artists and behind-the-scenes folks who make this, the Multiverse Convention, possible and make it what it is. And it's been an awesome, awesome journey. Well, tonight it all culminates here at the season finale as we get to talk to the person to talk to about the Multiverse Convention. She is the programming director at Multiverse, and for the entire hour, we're going to spend it with the awesome Venessa Giunta. So without further ado, here is your host for the Spotlight on the Multiverse Convention, Joe Compton.
Joe Compton.
I found that picture and I was like, I can't believe I've never seen that picture before.
I love that picture. It's my
so
husband
good.
My husband and I did a photo shoot years ago when we first moved back to a couple years after we first moved back to Georgia with a friend of ours who's a photographer. And she took so much. That picture is like in our shed, and he's standing in front of it like this, and I'm just like peeking around the door. It's hilarious. So,
yeah.
So.
It's you being mysterious, which I love. So
It was me if you could see the picture, the actual whole picture, it's actually me being super mischievous, because it's like I'm sneaking up on him from behind the thing and he's just standing there oblivious.
That's fantastic. Well, everybody, if you couldn't tell already, we're just going to go right off the rails here. So don't even try.
I got my booze.
Yeah, I mean, Venessa and I that's what we do. So. But Tiffany's here.
Yay, Tiffany!
I'm guessing this is Jesse, since he mentioned his voice. So Jesse, if Stuart's here.
Yay!
Hi, thanks, Jesse. Liam's here.
Hey, everybody!
I'm having radio syndrome. I don't know.
Paige is lurking.
All right. We were never on the. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, valid. There are no rails here. Multiverse has no rails.
I just realized what Liam was talking about with the radio. So he was talking to Jesse about his voice. But
yeah, his voice. So Jesse, you sound fine. You sound fine.
By the way, if anybody doesn't know that soundbite, it was this awesome person to my left, or to my right. Everybody else is left, I think. I don't know, whatever. But
I'm on your right on my screen if you're talking about me.
Yeah, but Venessa did a conversation and cocktail with Jesse and Allison, and I took that from that, which was the perfect. I mean, she asked the perfect question, which is, "What is multiverse?" And there you go. Jesse was able to pontificate and make it beautiful, and that's just how it is. So.
We should maybe do another. Oh, I have somebody else. I already have somebody on my October one. We should do one I should put you guys in for November, and we can do like a wrap up on conversation and a cocktail, Jesse. So.
That would be awesome. I would love that show.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think she needs an introduction, but for those of you who are new here, who don't know Venessa. And if you're going to Multiverse, you better introduce yourself to Venessa, because Venessa
Don't
the
expect
person,
me to remember your name.
Vanessa is the person to know. So there's no doubt about it. Not only that, but she is one of the best people to talk to, period, in the
Aw.
world. So,
Well,
but
I think everybody there is the person to know. Like, there's so
that's
many
true.
amazing people connected with Multiverse.
That's true. But tell everybody a little bit about yourself, just so that we can do the formalities and get on to our shenanigans.
I am the senior programming director for Multiverse. This was my first year in that role, but I have been with Multiverse since the beginning, 2019. I was and still am the right track director because I'm not ready to give it up yet, though I know I'm going to have to. I'm not ready yet. So yeah, I'm also an author and a freelance and contract editor of different fiction genres. I run a writerly support group called the Writing Tribe that is getting ready to change the name to the Writers Troop once I get my shit together and actually do it. So yeah, so that's kind of me.
That's the reason why I didn't mention it in the intro, because you don't have any branding for it yet. So I didn't want to make it awkward for anybody. But
I appreciate that. I can make it awkward all by myself.
Anti-realism, down with the sides of the tracks, and then
Paige has a potato because Paige is our positive. Paige is our positive potato. That's why you were there when I gave her that.
Yep. This is MJ Preston just saying hello. Hi, MJ. Nice to see you. And Liam says, right. All right.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Jesse.
But yeah, TWT is a great online group for writers. One of the best, very active. Absolutely, for sure. But here you are, year one, going through it. I mean, we're not there.
As programming director.
Yeah, as programming director. Give us a little insight into how the year has gone and how you feel like you've tackled year one.
Well, I mean, I've been doing conventions for a long time. Like, even so, this may be something you don't know about me. Well, I mean, you know that like I've been involved with Dragon Con and I've been involved with Frolicon on the production side, right? And I've been a guest at many cons over the years. And you probably don't know this, but you will not be surprised. Way back in the early 2000s, I actually helped co-produce a Duran Duran fan convention. So, I mean, I'm not surprised by that at all. Yeah. But yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. But this is the first time that I've had such a senior role, I guess. This wasn't just the writer's track, and that's like kind of my comfy zone. Like I can put together a writer's track like that. It's no big deal because because over the years I've been a track director for a writing track for at some convention, right? At various conventions, but at least one convention every year since like 2011. Yeah, Durant. Oh my God, you're so bad, Jesse. So since like 2011 or 2012, something like that. And so I've kept a master spreadsheet of all of the classes that I've thought up and all the ideas I have and all the ideas other people have. Right. So like the hardest thing is narrowing it down, right? To get just the things I need. So I can do that. It takes a lot of work and there's a lot of wrangling after you've chosen the things, but putting it together is no big deal. It's pretty easy for me at this point, but this is bigger than that. I had to do my track, which of course was relatively easy, but I also had to, both wrangle and work with, all of the track directors in programming who are a fucking fabulous bunch. Let me just tell you. And I had to, there was some baggage left over from previous years. And, so like there was navigating that. I mean, nothing bad, but But yeah, so it was really, and it was a brand new role to me. Like I went into it not really knowing in depth what it meant, what it was. I mean, I had a conceptual idea, but I didn't have a realistic understanding. Now I have a realistic understanding. So, but it's gone pretty well, I feel like. We didn't have any major, so far, I mean, knock on wood, we haven't had any major issues or problems, we got a little bit later than probably we should have, and that was due in part to me, and I didn't work out the timing as well as I probably could have. So that's, a learning experience. Nothing was super late. Like, as a matter of fact, our final schedule, obviously there's always going to be changes. That's, even on the fly, but we are publishing our schedule on October 1st. So in 2 days, you will get to see the Multiverse full schedule. So, yes.
That's awesome.
I think I answered your questions.
I think you did, yeah. No, it's all good. But that's awesome to hear about the Multiverse.
Liam. Yeah, 1 track versus 10 tracks, right?
and the Duran Convention being singularly focused, basically.
Yes. And also, we didn't have like guests or a writer's track or like a track, or we didn't have a track at all. It was basically a party in a hotel for a weekend, We had party space, we had party games and ridiculousness. So, but yeah, so that wasn't this. Absolutely. So.
Well, I don't know why my laptop's not holding a charge, but it's not, and I might die. But I've got my phone connected here, so if I die, it may be you may have to carry it for just a minute, and then I'll jump on through my.
Well, y'all out in the chat need to really be thinking of some questions then, because if Joe goes, you either ask questions or you're gonna have to just listen to me talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about if Joe disappears, because then the rails really will be off.
So Monster Truck Multiverse Jesse. The blur is slowly, yes, it is slowly eating. Yes. Good cue, Paige, Vanessa. How do you feel about adding a monster truck?
We actually, and I don't think I told you this, Jesse, but we got an email from a wrestler guy who wanted to see if we wanted him to come and whatever. I don't know.
People in sleeper holds.
I still do not understand the overlap between fandom and wrestling. I still don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah,
I can explain it a little bit if you like, but
Oh, we get emails from pro wrestlers every year. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't understand it. Feel free if you want to share. I would be happy to know, but because I don't.
Well, there's the storytelling element to it, obviously, but it's the male equivalent to. Oh.
No. I can still see him, but I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows I can see him. Oh, and he's frozen. No, he's not. He's moving. That's hilarious. Okay. We will just wait for Joe. And now he's muted, so I don't know what's happening. So yeah, I didn't know we get emails from pro wrestlers every year. I think that's hilarious. Hey, Sean, I'm kind of winging it on my own for a few minutes because Joe is having technical difficulties. So, Jesse says we need to have pro wrestlers run into tracks mid-panel and cut promos. Oh my God. I don't need another thing to keep track of. So yeah. Oh, there's Joe again. Almost. Maybe. He's thinking about it. Oh, wait. I've got to hit play again. There we go. All right, Joe, you there? No? Drive in monster trucks. Yeah, we'll have a drive. Well, we do have a whole lot of. Oh, I can't talk about that yet. Never mind. Double Joe. No, single Joe now too, but it's just a black square. He's not actually. I don't know what's happening. All right. So Most hilarious interview show ever. So lots of wrestlers in Atlanta, and that overlap is Dragon Con. Right, but like I don't understand why it's so big at Dragon Con either. Like I don't understand the overlap. It's got to be, it has to have something. Look, it's just me now. It's just my show. I think it has to have something to do with guys and nerddom and like just fandom in general, right? Because pro wrestling, generally speaking, tends to be like a teenage guy thing. I mean, an older guy thing, but they get into it in their teen years, right? And they fan out about it like I fan out about Duran Duran, right? So I think that's where the overlap. So let's see. Okay, let me scroll. Okay, so Jesse asks, what's on tap this year in multiverse programming that you're excited about? Ooh, I'm excited about so much. Like, there's so much stuff in the programming right now that I'm excited about that I'm not going to be able to go to. I already know I'm not. But the track directors have done an amazing job this year. I mean, they do an amazing job every year, but they have just really pulled out all the stops. We have got such good programming this year. I'm so excited. Liam, I wish I could put your comments on the screen because they're fucking hilarious. So yeah, but one of the things I'm excited about some of the stuff that's happening in the Gather room, which is our main programming room. I mean, obviously y'all know that, but so we've got a couple of really cool things. The Museum of Animation is going to be doing this whole presentation that is like a hands-on thing, and you can make your own. I don't know what it is. It has a name that I can't remember because I don't science, but it's this whole thing where you create your own animated thing. I don't know what it is. So I'm excited about that, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to go to it. I don't know if I am, but we'll see. I think that's on Saturday at 4. But that I'm also super excited about the drag show that we have on Friday nights. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that. So that's the thing I want to do, and of course I'm moderating the Girls Rule panel again on the horror track, which is always so much fun. This is our 4th in-person year doing it. We've done it every single year. Joe, are you actually with us? I see your smiling face on your profile picture, but I don't hear anything. So I'm going to assume you're not with us. So I'm just going to keep talking. So yeah, I'm always excited to do that. I'm going to actually be on a couple panels this year. Let me see. Let me pull up my schedule real quick because I don't remember offhand what they are. Oh, the other thing that we do, and we started doing this last year. Last year was the first year we did it at Multiverse. And those are our story times. And those of you who've been there know what those are. But they're basically, oh, Joe's back. Yay. But they're basically the most fun. They're a modern take on author readings, basically. And they're a lot different. I'm answering Jesse's question for like 10 minutes ago, where he asked what things I'm excited about in programming. So you have never been to an author reading like the Storytime readings. We've got a Storytime one during the day, which is, oh, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. Awesome. We've got a Storytime during the day, which is all ages. And then we've got a bedtime stories at night. And I think that one is Friday night. I think it's right before the drag show. No. Wait. Yes, it's right before the drag show. So the bedtime stories one is 18 and up. It can get a little spicy in there. So, as an author, and other authors can attest to this, and even readers can attest to this, that when you're scheduled for an author reading, there is so much stress around it. Not around the actual reading, although for me anyway, although some people do stress around the reading itself, but the stress of who's going to show up, especially if it's a convention that's kind of new to you, nobody knows who you are unless you're a big name. Nobody knows who you are. And so like, who's going to come? And it's so embarrassing and humiliating when you go in and there's nobody there, or just, your roommate came because, they wanted to support you or whatever. Like some cons, yay, Tiffany. Some cons will pair two authors together, which is both great because then, you're not alone. And also, again, demoralizing because they either don't have people, which means you're both just sitting there in a room together, or they do have people, which makes you look all that much more of a loser because you have nobody in there to listen to you, right? So it's just so stressful. I hate it. I really hate it. Say again, Joe?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Okay. So I really hate it. I would much rather a convention not schedule me for a reading because it's just, ugh. So about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, another convention I do that has a tiny little writer's track because the convention isn't all about writing. So I just have this little niche that I do it. I've carved out. And my predecessor at that con did regular readings, but I thought, I really want to get people here. I want it to be fun and stuff. So I made up this whole different idea. Y'all are on it with the musical puns tonight. I'm just saying. So the way the story times work is that there's 10, it's an hour long. There's going to be 10 authors. They each get 5 minutes. So that leaves a little bit of time in between because our sessions are an hour long. So there are prizes to be won. So everyone gets a little ticket just for arriving, just for coming to the room to listen to some of these rooms, you get an opportunity to win shit. But you can earn additional raffle tickets, and you can do that two ways. One way is if the author doesn't want to read for whatever reason, maybe, they get anxiety about reading, or, they don't like to be in front of people, and that's valid. Or maybe they have a sore throat, whatever. If they don't want to read, if you volunteer to read for them, you get an extra ticket. But far and away, the majority of the time, the way people earn additional tickets is to volunteer to act out what's about to be read without knowing what's about to be read. And it is freaking hilarious. So I wasn't sure if it would translate from that other con to a con that is not like that other con, because it's an adult con. It's 21 and up. You have to be 21 to get even attend the convention. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it would translate, but it did. We tried it last year. And it was hilarious. We had 3 sessions. We had 2 daytime sessions and one bedtime story session. And the first daytime session, there were more authors than there were people in the room. So the other authors were acting stuff out. And we pull, Paige, wrong con. And we pull raffle. Sorry, can't use raffle. We pull giveaway tickets in between each reading. So you get an opportunity. Each author brings one of their books and then something else to give away. So there's lots of things to give away. And so, yes, exactly. Audience participation readings are so much better and get people actually engaged. Yes, and for authors, it's great because number one, you're not in front of the room the whole time. Number two, it's a fun activity that you can get into as an audience member too, like when you're not the one reading. And so we had 3 last year. And the first one, like I said, it was just like I think there were like 4 people. We actually even had the sound guy, Cooper, actually, who is our head of he's our head of tech ops, our AV guy. He actually came and acted out a couple things. So we just had a grand old time. And then the second reading was the bedtime stories. That packed the room out. But I think that's because it was adults only and people think it's porn. So they're coming for the porn. And that's cool too.
It's because you grabbed everybody and made everybody come into that room.
No, because I'd have done that on the first one if I could. But also, it didn't hurt that we were right before the burlesque show. Like, that didn't hurt either. But it was packed out and we had a blast. So by that point, so the last one was on Sunday afternoon. And so by then the first two were on Friday, I think. And then, so by the time it got through the rest of the convention, it wasn't packed out on the third one because it was Sunday afternoon too. And there was other programming going on in every other track. So, but we had a much better turnout and it was hilarious. And the con chairs made it to that one. And I think they had a good time. So anyway, so that's how it's different. It's more fun because also from an author's perspective, aside from the stress and all that, stress relief and all that, also it's much more likely that you're going to sell books because potential readers get an opportunity to have fun with you, and people buy shit from people they like, and they're like, that person, she was so funny. She didn't take herself seriously at all, blah, 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 and it's like, let me go check out her books. So yes, they loved it. So anyway, so that's the bedtime stories / story times and how much fun they are. So I don't know I haven't been keeping track. At some point, can you tell everyone about the meet track and why it's different from what you find at other cons? Yes. Our meet track, and it is MEET, not MEAT. I had to make sure I made that point when I was hanging out with some gay guys and was talking about multiverse, and they were like, we would have come either way. It would have been fine. So our meet track is run by Gigi, and she is just phenomenal. And it is a room that is designed to facilitate interactions among people, right? So we have all kinds of different meetups. I know this year she's doing a musician meetup again, and that often turns into an impromptu jam session. So that's always fun.
Becca and I talked about that last week. So
yeah. So she's got one of those, and she's got a lot of tarot and divinity. She's got a thing called Divinity, TEA. So, which is, I guess tea leaves and different stuff like that, and tarot cards and things. And she's got a couple different tarot card meetups because that seems to be very popular. She does all kinds of different things every year. Excuse me. So it's so much fun, and she decorates the room, and she's got little backdrops that you can take selfies in front of that are all different fun things. And it's just a really chill, low pressure, easy way, especially if you're kind of new to conventions or maybe you're new to multiverse itself. It's just a fun, very low key way. At any point you can just walk in there and kind of hang out with people. She's got some candy in the front, and there's decorations everywhere. Last year, do you have the clip of the so last year, Joe's played this a couple times during the spotlights, I know, but they had the most ridiculous thing happen in Meet. You have it queued up?
Yep. Actually, okay. Hang on. Okay. Yep. Ready?
Yes, do it. I mean,
and
I can't give
another reason why, among many.
That's the meat reason. Hang on. Well, that has it in the end.
I want the video. You know the video
yeah.
I'm talking about.
I think I took it down. I think I took it off of here, but
anyway, so she had those, for people of my particular age range, back when I was a kid, and people slightly younger than me too. We had these basically giant, they're now fitness balls that had little handles on them and you could bounce on them, right? As a kid. She had two of those in the room. One's a unicorn, and I don't know what the other one, just a pony? I don't know what the other one was.
It was a pony.
Two of the, let's just say older male guests, unicorn jousting, my age or older, two of the guys just got on those and just went to town at each other. It was, I wasn't there when it happened, but I've seen the video footage multiple times, and I never fail to crack the fuck up every time I read it. So stuff like that.
I was there, and it was hilarious at the moment, and it's still hilarious now. So.
Right? So funny. So we also have, as a matter of fact, we also have two different tracks that are devoted to games. We have our gaming room, right? Our gaming hall, where you can go and play games. This year, we're going to have two console games. One is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't remember what the other one is, some other thing. that I'm not nerdy enough to retain in my memory. But also, you know, tabletop games and things like that. Sean, who is out in the chat, is the director over that. And well, Aaron is the director of the gaming hall, but Sean is kind of the connection between gaming and play, which is a track that is about gaming. So, you know, there'll be panels about, you know, how to create games and how to, you know, like different things that go, like how to write for games or how to, you know, get into the gaming industry, or, you know, a discussion about new indie games that are coming out and things like that. So it's a discussions about games, different aspects of games, whether that's console games or PC games or tabletop games or card games or whatever. And Sean's kind of the connector of both of those things. And they've got a lot of really fun things going on. There's a Chuck Tingle game that I am like looking askance at because I'm sure it's going to be ridiculous and offensive. So it's going to be awesome. So yeah, we have a lot of things at Multiverse that are not necessarily seen at a lot of other cons, particularly cons our size. Feel the tingle. Oh, Sean. So we also have a full art track. So we have an art show that's in the dealer's hall, which, you know, you've talked about in the past. And we also have a full-fledged art track, which I think this year's the second year for the art track. So it's kind of a new track. And they've just got some really fun programming this year. The title of one of their panels is something like, "It has pretty colors and I want to lick them," or something. Yeah. So, you know, like, just, it makes you just want to go. It doesn't even matter what it's actually about.
Nathan said that was the most popular panel from a year ago, so that's why he brought it back.
I think that's the first one on their programming. I think it's directly after opening ceremonies. So, so yeah, but we have, and you know, we have things like we have a sensory break room. If you see, don't miss the Chuck Tingle demo. Yes. Oh, he retweeted. Oh yeah, last year he retweeted us. I remember. So we have a sensory break room, you know, because sometimes a convention can get really overstimulating, right? And I mean, it's good for people, particularly who maybe don't have a room at the hotel. If you have a room, you can always go up to your room. But, you know, even if you just need like a 10-minute, I can't interact with anyone right now, you can go in the sensory break room. The lights are a little lower. They're like beanbag chairs. There's coloring books, you know. Oh, I like the colors and want to lick it. Yeah. Oh, I like those. Yes. I mean, I should go to that, but I have my own stuff. So, yeah, so we have we have a create track.
Consuite.
Oh yeah, Consuite. Consuite. Consuite has full meals every mealtime, from dinner Friday, which is of course tamale night. It's always tamale night. And I recommend, especially there's like a little bean salsa that goes with it that is so good, like mixed in with the tamale. So good. Anyway, so yeah, so, and then like breakfast on Saturday, lunch on Saturday, dinner on Saturday, breakfast on Sunday, and lunch on Sunday. So, I mean, and in between those times, you can just swing by there if you want a piece of fruit, if you want a snack, if you need a bottle of water, or you want coffee or whatever, there, you know, it's open. So, yeah, it's awesome. We also have a create room, which you've probably talked about, but it's like a giant craft room that you can just go into. It's awesome. And there are classes. So if you want to learn a new fun little thing to make, and it's
this is my mission. You know, that particular room is my mission.
Yes.
So
yes. So yeah. Oh my God, Liam. So wow. So, I mean, and we've got a learn track, which is super cool because it's modeled on academic paper presentations, but you don't actually have to have a paper to do a presentation in there. And that can be a 15-minute presentation, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. They're all different times. And you get to listen to somebody talk about something nerdy, like nerdy and academic. Like there was one I went to last year who a friend of mine put on, and I went specifically to support her. And it had to do with like the science of dice rolls, which was really interesting. Although I've forgotten most of it because it does not affect my life in any way, but it was super interesting. Tiffany's going to be living in Create. That's awesome.
Well, Tiffany, come and grab me. So, because
Yes.
this has been my mission for 3 years now, is to get into that room and just create for like a half hour or whatever, and do something. So, Tiffany, if you see me, grab me, okay? So I can go in there and, I know I'm putting it on other people to live up to my responsibilities.
That's okay. I mean, as long as you're okay with them forgetting, it's cool. But and Jesse put in health and fitness while trans. Yeah. Which is awesome. There's also a class that is called Dino Nuggies, and I can't remember the rest of it because I just get caught up in Dino Nuggies.
Yeah,
it's about
you had me at Dino Nuggies,
right? It's about nutrition, particularly for neurodivergent people, right?
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, like that's from both of those classes are from one of our sponsors, Chaotic Good Fitness. Who are fabulous. There's also going to be an actual an exercise class on Saturday morning for all skill levels, and it's like a low impact, just gentle movement sort of exercise class. There it is. See, and beyond. I always forget the and beyond part because the Dino Nuggies just grabs me. So, yeah.
So we're going to have a lot of new people here, which is something that is a staple of Multiverse. I'm curious from your perspective, right? What can us as guests do for you that would help you tremendously?
Do the shit you're supposed to do. Be on time. I mean, one of the things about the track that I run at the adult convention is that I don't stay in the room. I don't ever go in the room unless I'm actually on the panel because I trust my people to show up. And it's also not a convention where it's usual for directors to stay in the room. That's not, it's not a common thing there anyway. But like, I trust them to do their shit. And so, and they've never let me down. So huzzah. But that's really, as guests, guests, I just want them to like show up to their stuff, share their wonderful experiences and their expertise, and just be cool and hang out and have a good time with us. That's really all I want from the guests. Just do the stuff you're supposed to do and have a great time doing it. So, yeah.
Are you enjoying this? I mean, I know this is the stressful moment for. Actually, it's probably won't. The stressfulness is probably winding down a little bit, but. I mean, have you been enjoying it? Have you had the opportunity to sit back and kind of look at it and go, you know what, this is really cool that I'm doing something like this?
Yes, every step of the way. That's how I felt. Because so I've been with Multiverse since the first year, which was 2019. And of course, then we immediately went into a pandemic, right? A global pandemic. So it was super challenging. But let me tell you, from that first year, Multiverse became the convention of my heart. And being able to give back to this amazing group of people by doing whatever I can do to help it run well and run smoothly. I am like, I couldn't be happier. I'm so lucky, y'all. I am so lucky. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Have there been stressful times? Yes. It's always stressful, right? Like any kind of
you're managing a ton of tracks with 900 guests that are going to drive you insane.
Yeah. I don't have to deal with the guests. We have someone to do that. I only deal with guests occasionally.
But setting them up on panels and getting them to fill out the forms and everything, that's
not my job. I'm actually the last line of defense for that because we have a guest liaison, Holly, who she is I cannot sing her praises highly enough. She will step in if you need something. She does be above and beyond. She's just awesome. And she's the one who sends, she's the primary contact point for the guests for anything, right? Sometimes they'll send me an email or they'll send the chairs an email or whatever, but most of the communications go through Holly. If I have something I need announced to the guests, I let Holly know and she takes care of it, right? Holly is amazing. So, a national treasure, at least a multiversian treasure. So, she does all that so well. I'm the last line of defense when Holly's like, so I've emailed so-and-so 8 times and they haven't done the X, Y, and Z. That's when I come in and I'm like, hey, we've got some shit that you need to do. There was actually a guest who, and he's a good guest. We've had him before, but he just never responded. Like, we never got his guest agreement or anything. He wasn't responding to emails. I sent him messages on Facebook and stuff. And so we ended up cutting him, because we just didn't hear from him. And I saw him later at a book event, and I was like, dude, and he was like, I'm sorry, my life was a mess. And I was like, well, we had to put somebody in your spot. And he was like, it's cool. And he's still coming, like he's paying for a badge and he's coming. And so, because Multiverse is just amazing. It's just that's why it's the con of my heart. The thing is, we're still very small and we need more attendance. But the thing is, once we get people in the door, they are in. Like, there's a very, very small percentage who may not be in, but the vast majority of them, if we can get them in the door, they're in. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of place. Did I answer any question you had in that? I feel like I go off on tangents, and that's
no. Like I said, this is what you and I do, so it's no big deal. So, but I think you're absolutely right. It's just amazing. A lot of folks don't realize the sheer number of guests and programming events that Venessa has to coordinate. Can you estimate those numbers at all?
So we have about, if you count not just the regular guests, but if you also count like the Museum of Animation, who's doing stuff for us, Go Indie Now, who's doing stuff for us, and as a sponsor, Falstaff Books, who is a sponsor, Chaotic Good Fitness, who is a sponsor. All of those people together probably, and they're all on programming in some way. Probably 100 guests, give or take 10. And I think we have 12 time slots over the course of the weekend for each track. We've got, how many tracks do we have? Do we have 10 tracks? I don't know. So whatever that number is, y'all do the math. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah. So no, we have the geek tracks. So we've got geek, horror, sci-fi, and fantasy. We've got write, we've got create, we've got learn, we've got art, we've got meet, and we've got both gamings. So 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's a lot of stuff. Yes, there is some wrangling, but let me tell you, don't think that I'm doing all this work, because I'm not. I'm really the wrangler of the humans, right? Our track directors are fucking phenomenal. Like, they come up with the most amazing, plus Gather. That's where I probably put in most of my work, like for a single track, was for Gather, which is our main programming. And we can talk about that in a minute. And I am going to be having a director for that, because that really is most of, like, that's a good 30%, a good solid 30% of what I did, at least. So, but anyway, the track directors are freaking awesome. They've come up with some of the most amazing sessions, and they've filled them. They've done such a good job filling them with just so the way we choose our guests is we do it democratically. We have 2 or 3 meetings. I think we did. Sean, did we do 2 this year or 3? I don't know. I'm getting all the meetings mixed up. But I know we did 2 later when we were figuring out who's going to be on what panel. But initially we choose all the guests together. You know, the chairs and I will do like a preliminary 10 or so that we think are easy approvals that we think everybody will be able to use. But they get not veto, but they get to bring up if they have an issue with someone, they just let me know and they go back into the pool, right? And then we go through. And so we all choose together who the guests are going to be. And then, you know, then they create their tracks and then they populate their tracks once we get all the guest agreements in and we know who's actually coming. And then they populate the tracks with the people that they want. And then invariably there are conflicts. Yeah. And so then we have to wrestle it out. So I have to figure out a more efficient way to do that second part, because this year we had two meetings. The first one was an hour and a half and the second one was 3 hours, and that's way too long. So I've got to figure out a more efficient way of doing that next year, but you know, learning curve.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of wrangling, but honestly, the track directors make it pretty easy. You know, sometimes I have to come after them like, you know, you needed to do this and you didn't do this, but you know, we're humans. Like I've had the chairs have to do that with me. So, you know, it is what it is.
So talk about the gather track.
Okay, so gather track, like I said, is main programming, right? It's the big room that opening ceremonies is in and closing ceremonies is in. So we have a number of things. I've already mentioned the Museum of Animation is doing a thing in there. That's also where the story times are. It is also where our guest of honor spotlights will be. Each of our guests, except, all of them are in there. Because I thought originally our artist guest of honor, Ganyi Montez, was in art, but I moved him over to gather. So these are spotlights on each of our individual guests of honor, and they all get a full hour to themselves. And they're all doing different things. It's super cool. I don't know what Ganyi's doing, but we have Rebecca Roanhorse, who's fabulous, and we have Milton J. Davis, who is also fabulous. And we've got a couple of our directors are doing those interviews. Mason, who is our art director, is going to be doing Ganyi's, and then M. Haynes, who is our fantasy director, he is going to be interviewing Milton. And Milton is going to be airing his, it's a short movie that he has that's like a 8-minute movie or something like that. So that's going to be super cool. And then Nicole Givens-Kurtz, who is our sci-fi director, is going to be interviewing Rebecca. And Rebecca is she's going to be doing a reading, for part of hers. So it's going to be super cool. So those go in there. And of course, a lot of a good portion of our nighttime programming, especially the bigger events, are in there. And so, like I said, we're going to have a drag show. It's a drag and gaming show. So I am so excited to see it. I am going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we also have Mark Gunn, who, if you don't know, he is a musician. He does filk, which is like folk but nerdy, like with nerdy lyrics and things. And you interviewed him last week. Was it last week or the week before? Yeah, last week. So yeah, he's always great. He's got a show in the afternoon too, that we just added, I think Sunday afternoon. I think right before closing ceremonies. But on Saturday night, he's going to be he's going to take the 8:30 slot, and he's going to be doing his show. And then directly after that, Heads Will Row, an interactive D&D drag experience. Yes, that's the drag. Thank you for manning the schedule for me, Jesse. I appreciate that. So that's the drag show. And then that's on Friday night. And then on Saturday, we've got Mark. And then directly after Mark's Saturday night show is the dance party. And that starts at 10 and goes till 2. So you can get in there and shake your booty. We've got DJ Bubbles again this year. We had them last year too. And they did a really good job. So we have that. What else do we have in Gather?
Karaoke.
No, karaoke is actually going to be in the right track on Friday night. It's going to be up against the drag show. So, you got to pick one or the other. Yeah, it was really hard.
You can go back and forth.
Yeah, it was really hard this year because, we are we have so many so many ideas and so many things we want to do. We don't really have enough space. So so karaoke is going to be on Friday night in the Right Track room. So yeah. I'm trying to think of what the other daytime stuff we have. Yes.
So there you go. You can go to the drag show and then 11 o'clock show up for karaoke.
Yes. Yes. We did make sure that the karaoke was going later so that, people could enjoy both.
Yeah, because there's also Monster Mash. There's there's a bunch of stuff.
Many of the tracks, particularly the fantasy track, the horror track, and the sci-fi, I think, only has a couple evening slots because she was like, yeah, I can't, like, there's so many competing things. So there's the Monster Mash and horror, and then there's the Hill, I think, in
yeah, I was just going to say that.
In fantasy. And you'll have to read about those because I always get them mixed up. But,
and then what's the one where they have the props and they do the improv? I don't remember the name of it. But
an autopsy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's in sci-fi. That's not evening though. I think she's got that 5:30, the 5:30 slot on Saturday, I think. Why do you gotta ask that? I just said read the damn program.
Well, I mean, and plus, Jesse, you know that I've talked about the Monster Mash probably more than anything on this show for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monster Mash is it's two competing teams who each get a monster, and they have to explain why their monster would defeat the other monster in a competition of sorts.
It's basically like a horror debate club about monsters.
Basically, yeah. And then the Hill is what you go up in front of people and you declare what hill you would die on, and then there's a debate about that as well amongst the crowd.
Like Predator is better than whatever the other one that it fights with. Aliens. Or Aliens is better than Predator. Like Aliens would kick Predator's ass, or whoever. So yeah. Firefight. Is that the Hill? Is that the new name of the Hill? Or is that your that's yours, Sean. I thought that was Jesse that posted that. Yeah, I didn't actually read what the firefight is. So Sean, if you want to tell us in the chat, we will put it on the screen. Sean is like I trust my directors to know what the hell they're doing. So yeah, it's your thing. Yeah, I originally thought that it was Jesse that said that, but only because Jesse had spoken right before you. So we've got to
take a moment to mention stuff that we're doing over the weekend going to
Please do.
Yeah. So Sunday we've done every time I've been there live, we're going to do This Week in Indies live, most likely from the patio area. Again, it seems to be the best space to do it in. So if you all want to come and just say hello on camera or whatever, we'll all be hanging out. I know for a fact that it'll be myself, Madeline Dale, Ron Lahr, and Bob Magoo all being there. So, but there's plenty of room for other people if they want to come in and sit down and hang out with us. That goes from noon to 1 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And then we also, something we're doing that will premiere tomorrow is a brand new show that we're doing about indie RPG and indie gaming, hosted by the awesome SM Hillman, who is in the chat right now. And he is talking to Mr. Egg Emery is his guest for the first episode, and that'll premiere tomorrow night, and then we're doing a gaming session on Monday for that. But while at Multiverse, we're going to be filming a lot of the gaming and including it in the next episode of the show. So if you want to be a part of that and get on camera for that, then make sure that you hang out with Sean and do that, because Sean. I'm giving Sean my camera set up, and he's going to set some stuff up there. So
that's going to be so awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesse. If y'all haven't hit the like and follow button for Gondi now, get it.
and Sean put the explanation for the firefight. Original
Okay,
cyberpunk crash through the barriers and bring down the corporate bastards or die trying. As one player dies, another can sit down and take up the fight. I like it. I like it.
Danger movie.
So yeah, also what y'all may or may not know is that we're going to be celebrating Mr. Joe Compton's 50th birthday at Multiverse. You didn't think you were going to get away with not adding that, did you? Come on now. Yes.
Yes. Well, that's going to be fun. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing all my friends out there. I mean, this has been a wonderful, wonderful ride for me for the last 3 months. And thanks, Jesse. And I just have to say real quickly before we sign off that when Venessa and I started talking about how we were going to do this and put this out there, this was always the goal, and so we've run through it now for a whole season.
Like hopefully. The whole season.
Yeah.
It was the whole
year. Yeah, for a good portion. We've been doing it for about 4 months now, and hopefully you all will have me back for season 2, and we'll do something bigger and better next season 2. And thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. It's very early. It's actually going to be earlier at Multiverse too. It's not my actual birthday, but that's. But it's the only time that I get to be with all my friends before my actual birthday, so that's why we're celebrating it. So, yeah. But yeah, and egg is awesome, by the way. Yeah, so this was a really fun thing to do, and if you have anything else left for Venessa, you want to get it in now because we're about to finish up the season here. I do have one last question for you, my friend, and that is, what have you learned about yourself in this process that you didn't going into it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that because there's like so much of my skill sets work in this particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's anything particularly new. I have learned that I cannot do everything. That I've learned. I guess that's really it. That I cannot do every fucking thing. And the thing is, like I said, we've got amazing directors. All of our directors are just so good. But there are a couple spots where we don't have directors, and of course, really one spot that we don't have an AD, an assistant director for one of our tracks, but like the Gather track, the main programming, we don't have a director because it's just always fallen under the programming director's purview. But I've decided I really want somebody in there because that will take off some of the pressure. And it's really mostly just, the emails back and forth to people and hammering things out and, like, what's the name of your show and what's the name of the program you're doing or whatever. And, what's the description and send me pictures and all that kind of stuff. That's not my favorite thing to do. So, but I have to say, I want to thank you, Joe, so much for doing these spotlights because, I tried to, like, I caught a lot of them. Like I was in the audience in many of them because, I wanted to make sure that I could, support and everything, but they were just so good. And it was so much fun. There are so many people. We have one of the things we do with programming when we're doing guest selection is we try to make sure that we don't have more than about 60 to 65% returning guests. 60 to 70 probably is where we go. And then we want to make sure that we have at least 30% that are new to Multiverse, right? So, so there were a lot of people that you had on the shows that I had never met or never interacted with or never, worked with. And it was just so much fun watching you talk to them about their previous experiences and what they were looking forward to about Multiverse and, just getting to know them. And you do such a good job and you do so much for us. And I just want you to know that we are all so incredibly grateful for you. So thank you.
I'm so grateful for all of you. I mean, this has been a wonderful experience. And yes, I got to meet a bunch of people I've never met before and talk to them, and I think I have a new best friend in Amy Anderchuk, but otherwise, but yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, and I'm just so grateful to be the person that was asked to bring this to light. So thank you for that opportunity, for from you, Jesse, and Allison, for trusting me in that aspect of it. So I appreciate that so much. So
I do want to say one more thing real quick. That if you're interested in coming to Multiverse, tickets are still available, but we also still have volunteer opportunities. Conventions always need more volunteers. Conventions never don't need any. We never have enough. So if money's tight, or even if you just have that kind of volunteer mindset, we've got a link on the website. You just go to, I think, at the event, or get involved. I think it's get involved, and there's a volunteering page, and you can fill out the application and, talk about what areas you like to volunteer in. And, if you don't do that, please at least come out and hang out with us. I promise you come in that door, you are going to love it. We have so much fun. So, and
if you're there early on Thursday or so, come and help out setting things up, and that you'll get a really great opportunity to learn and get to meet some of the people who are involved in Multiverse firsthand. So
yes. Load in and load out are some of the most fun times to do. And also because especially if you're actually a volunteer and you volunteer to do loading, for volunteering to get a whole weekend badge, you'd need to do 12 hours of service, either before, after, or during the con. And so you get like 3 or 4 hours at the beginning and 3 or 4 hours at the end. You don't have to do very much during the actual con. So yeah, and load in is just fun anyway, because it's just, everybody's just bringing shit in from the trucks and talking to each other as they pass. And, so yeah, it's so much fun. So, well,
tell everybody where they can find you, and that if anybody has any questions or anything, they can get in touch with. I mean, obviously, you want to go through Holly first, and then if you see Venessa, and you have a question for her, I'm sure she'll be more than accommodating to talk to you. And
if anybody has questions about programming, they can email me at programming@multiversecon.org. And I'm happy. I mean, I can't guarantee you I will be very prompt for, only because we're just kind of in the downhill part, and, crossing the I's and dotting the T's and all that. But yeah, so you can email me there, or, also if you just have general questions about Multiverse, you can, Jesse, is it info@multiversecon.org? I think it is.
I think it is too.
Yeah. But you can do that. You can reach out on social media. You can send a DM to the Multiverse social media accounts. Chelsea is fabulous, and will answer you. And also, don't forget, we have a Facebook group. So just search for Multiverse Convention on Facebook. You can find it. We're always talking in there and, doing stuff. We have a Discord. They have Friday night bar night, which it's happy hour bar on Friday nights, which most of the people who are currently in here were in there, so, and I imagine people will retire back to there. But yeah, we do all kinds of, every Friday night we have happy hour on the Discord, and yeah, so come hang out with us.
Yeah, a great group to be involved with and hang out. And I'm going to do something that drives Venessa crazy, but it is kind of my thing. Before I say the magic words, and that is, I'm going to leave you all with a cliffhanger, and let you know that this is just the beginning for Multiverse. Some big things are on the horizon, and some things are going to be changing for the good. And we can't wait to tell you all about it.
And we'll tell you have to be at closing ceremonies to hear about it.
I was just going to say the exact same thing you just said. So yeah, you have to be there. You'll hear all about it there. And then I'm sure the word will spread like wildfire at that point. But, we're only a few weeks away, so you don't have to wait too long to hear the information. But know that this is just the beginning. And remember, it's always time to go indie
now.